Hey everyone, and welcome to the video today. And in today's video I'm going to be going over the fact that I think Sonic Frontiers looks really good. It looks really good in my opinion. I'm a big Sonic fan, and for me, you know, the series has been in a very sharp decline, I think, since probably Sonic Mania. Sonic Forces was absolutely terrible, and I don't even want to go on about Sonic Boom. But it's nice to see that Sega have actually put the time and effort into their mascot franchise, the franchise that essentially carries them, other than Persona. So it is really nice to see that Sega are actually paying attention to what we want. The only problem with the Sonic community is some people want adventure gameplay, some people want boost gameplay, some people want classic gameplay. And one thing that I really like about Sonic Frontiers is the fact that it seems to be pulling from all sources. You've got 2D levels and the cyberspace levels, you've got weirdly enough, Sonic's parkour system sort of reworked into this game from Sonic Lost World. It looks really cool, like Sonic can climb, you can wall run and other things. And obviously you've got the boost gameplay as well as some of the more open areas. Obviously you've got the open world, the open zones, which is probably taken and inspired from Sonic Adventure, which was a much more open game. So it's really nice to see these elements being brought in general, really. But going on to what I like about the game, so first off we have returning levels. The following levels have been confirmed so far. If there have been any more confirmed, I just haven't seen them yet, so I do apologise. Please tell me in the comments. But so far we have Green Hill Zone, Chemical Plant Zone, Sky Sanctuary, and Skyscraper Scramble, which is Empire City from Sonic Unleashed. However, this could also be interpreted as Speed Highway with more of a daytime / sunset setting, or City Escape as well, because it's currently just a city level. If anyone knows the name of this level, again, please tell me in the comments. Feel free to correct me all you want. I'll go into in the concern section of this video. I'll go into more about these levels, but a lot of these levels, it's really nice to see these returning. I would like to see some other levels that haven't come back yet in any shape or form. One would be, I don't know, maybe Radical Highway for example, but I don't think we'll get another city level. I think at this point Green Hill, Chemical Plant are staples of the series. They're going to be in pretty much every game in some capacity. I mean, Green Hill is one of the most iconic levels in video game history, so it kind of makes sense. It is essentially the Mario World 1-1, you know, the sort of grassy level, you know, the starting level to introduce you to the mechanics and the controls. Green Hill has always been that, and it probably will be that going forward, to be honest. Next up, I'd like to talk about the art style and graphics. So for me, I think it looks really good. I have heard lots of complaints with the Gamescom demo, however. I haven't seen the game running on Switch too much. I feel like the performance on Switch will suffer, but from what I've heard from people that have played it, they've said that the game actually doesn't run that bad. Apparently it's just like, you know, 30 frames. It's probably going to be like 720p in the open world, maybe the cyberspace levels, like maybe 1080. But no, the game looks quite good, and I think the overall art style, I think the presentation looks really good. There are some reused assets and things like that from Sonic Forces, but it's just things like bridges are being reused, and in my opinion that's fine. I'm not a big you know, I'm not really a person who's going to complain about that sort of thing, but overall the game looks really good. I think it looks really vibrant and colourful in places, but it looks sort of more a realistic art style, which I think I've been sorely missing since probably Sonic Unleashed. I think that game still looks good to this day, in my opinion. Like, Unleashed looks really good on the Series X, if you haven't played it, but yeah, honestly the game just looks really good. Next up, I'd like to talk about the freedom of being in an open world. Obviously, this is essentially the first ever fully open world Sonic game. The closest we've got is the original Sonic Adventure, and obviously lots of fan games as well, you know, when you see like Sonic and Unreal 3, Unreal 4, that sort of thing. Sonic Omens as well was probably an inspiration for this game, or at least somewhere along the lines. I don't know, obviously I don't know that's a fact, but for me, having an open world Sonic game is really cool. We got to do things like puzzles, side quests, collectibles. Like you have those, I think they're called the Cocos, I don't know what they're called. They're the little creatures that Sonic saves in the trailer, and they're essentially going to be the Korok equivalent, where apparently if you collect them all, if you collect a certain number and you bring them back to an elder one, you get a upgrade of some kind. So that was obviously the clear inspiration there. There's no hiding it. But also going into the fact that I'm now going to go into combat and skill trees. This game has, because it's an open world, a skill tree and a combat system. The combat system looks really good. I've gone over that in other videos that I've done in the past, but I think the fact that it's not just, you know, homing attacks, stomps, and there's actual combos. I don't think, obviously it's not going to be as detailed and complex as Sonic Unleashed's Werehog levels, where it's more of a like Devil May Cry, the original God of War sort of combat system. It's going to be a combat system where it focuses on using the side loop ability to essentially boost with a trail around enemies, launch them into the air, homing attack them. Sonic can do combat moves where he launches projectiles. He can do, there's one really cool one where Sonic essentially does the move from the Sonic movie, where at the end of the original Sonic movie, Sonic does like loads of homing attacks bouncing off Eggman, and that seems to be in the game, which is really cool. But yeah, combat looks really cool. The skill tree we haven't seen, I don't think we've seen at all yet to my knowledge. If we have, then great. But again, I'm just hoping it's a really complex skill tree. Next up, I'd like to talk about different biomes. This was a concern I had in one of my older videos, but it looks like that has now been solved. Apparently there is going to be a snow biome, but essentially in the open world, it's going to be broken up into smaller open worlds being called open zones, and different biomes being obviously I think it's Kronos Island, which is going to be this sort of woodland biome with fields, forests, waterfalls, that sort of thing. And then we've also seen in the last two, the overview trailer, and I think it was the trailer from the Nintendo Direct, we see a desert biome as well. So it is nice to see that it isn't just, because don't get me wrong, I do think for an open world Sonic game, having a woodland field biome is really cool, but I think for me personally, having, you know, a snow biome, a desert biome, a field woodland biome, hopefully we get a like tropical beach one as well, maybe. I feel like another good one may be one that takes place specifically in cyberspace. I don't know how I'd do that at all, but yeah, no, it's the open world looks really good in general. I mean, as I said, you have side quests and puzzles. The puzzles, I was a bit afraid that they were going to be very simplistic things like press a button, go to this area, the button opened the door, and things like that. But it does look like there is going to be a variety of different puzzles that range from ones that are a bit more complex in games like, for example, Breath of the Wild and Genshin Impact have some like complex puzzles in the open world. And then you have the ones where it's just press 3 buttons in an area in a time limit and things like that. So yeah, I mean, one thing I also want to talk about in this video, because I am just rambling, I'm going sort of off script now, but Sonic looks a lot more serious. The story is essentially going to be collect the Chaos Emeralds. First off, I'd like to say as well, thank God they're bringing back the Chaos Emeralds. This pretty much means a Super Sonic boss fight at the end, and hopefully unlockable Super Sonic for playing the game as well. For the end game, I don't know even if there is going to be an end game, but hopefully that's going to be good. But Sonic looks more serious. He acts more serious. He acts more mature, and I think that's something that we were desperately missing. They had that in Sonic Unleashed and a little tiny bit in Sonic Generations, but since then we've had the sort of snarky Disney Channel Sonic, who's been very, very kid friendly. And don't get me wrong, I think Sonic should remain kid friendly, but I do think there should be an element from the adventure games 06 and Unleashed where it gets a bit more serious, because I mean, look at Unleashed. I think Unleashed, for the dialogue and again level design and everything, is a near perfect Sonic game. Obviously the Werehogs sort of drags that game down quite a bit, but for me, Sonic in Unleashed is like the perfect version of Sonic. I feel like they perfected Sonic in that game. And then they just went to colours, which was terrible writing, terrible jokes, but hey, you know, that's just me. And going now into the concerns I have going into this game, there aren't too many left. A lot of the concerns that I had in past videos throughout this year have been sort of addressed in some way positively, but one I have is the story and dialogue. We know that Ian Flynn from the Archie Comics is writing the dialogue. We thought he was writing the script, but apparently he's just written the dialogue for Sonic and Co. So we know how Sega have been with scripts in the past sort of 10 years or so, where it's been very off. Again, like I said, in Sonic Force's script was absolutely terrible. It was really bad. Like, I think Knuckles has that line where he says something about "this is War Tales." It's just, it just doesn't fit the game at all. But the story and dialogue so far, I don't know if you guys have seen, but on YouTube there are 2 hours plus of gameplay, including cutscenes, that people have uploaded from a sort of 240p screen cap of the Gamescom demo that has just been released out, and the game looks good. I think from what I've seen from the dialogue, it's a really nice mixture, I'd say, of Generations and Colors dialogue, where Sonic's a bit more snarky and jokey, and a bit more serious, where obviously you've got these sort of somber piano music, and then Sonic is actually being serious. He's focused on finding his friends, which is really nice to see. Another concern I have is reusing level design. I know I talked about returning levels, and I know for a lot of people they're going to probably be in the comments on Sonic videos throughout YouTube going on about how they don't want to see Green Hill again, they don't want to see Chemical Plant again, they don't want to see Sky Sanctuary Zone again. For me, I don't mind seeing these levels again as long as they're done differently. The only problem I have, because I don't mind the odd callback, I don't mind references to past levels. I feel like Generations did that really well. An example would be you had in Seaside, in the classic level for Seaside Hill Zone, you had a Hydrosity Zone reference there. So, you know, I think with the levels they are reusing, I don't know if you have seen the comparisons, I'll have one on screen now, is that Green Hill Zone is a mixture of Windmill Isle Zone from Sonic Unleashed. It's literally one-to-one identical. It's a mixture of Act 1 and Act 2 from Sonic Unleashed. It's genuinely like parts of the level are one-to-one, which, again, if it was like a one-off, I'd still be like, okay, that's lazy. It is lazy game design, because I feel like Sonic Team, ever since after Generations, the level design has been absolutely terrible. Hence why, obviously, excluding Sonic Mania was really good level design, but yeah, Sonic Forces and Sonic Lost World were really bad level design. So, you know, like things like springs popping up and all sorts. But I think with the levels that they have brought back, I am very concerned about every cyberspace level is going to be essentially a Sonic level from the past reskinned. I don't know if you guys have seen Chemical Plant Zone and Sky Sanctuary Zone are almost, from what I've seen, I'd say about 75% of the level is one-to-one from the modern stage from Generations for those levels respectively. So, for example, Chemical Plant Zone is literally one-to-one from what I've seen. Sky Sanctuary Zone, I think, has a few extra bits thrown in or taken out. But the city level, again, it has, from what I've seen, it's a mixture of Empire City from Sonic Unleashed and Speed Highway / City Escapes. So, see, that's a bit more tolerable for me. If they pull from different, multiple different levels with the same theming, that's fine for me. But I really wonder which levels are going to come back as well. I really hope it's not just the Generations levels. I really hope they do. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see like Seaside Hill Zone maybe, but I'm hoping they do pull a few other levels from Sonic's history as well. And I'm really hoping we get some brand new cyberspace levels that we've never seen before. And, you know, that takes me perfectly into another concern I have, and it's the final concern of this video, is the game's length. For me, the game's length needs to be 30 hours minimum. A really good example of this is Sonic Forces can be completed in 2 hours. I think my record is 2 hours and 10 minutes. People have been able to finish it in 30 minutes, which I think is an absolute joke. The Sonic Frontiers is being priced at essentially full price. So for me, that should equate to 30 hours minimum to finish the story. On top of that, obviously skilled players may finish it a tad bit quicker, but for me the game needs to be 60 hours plus to 100%, like doing all the extra side quests and whatnot. I think that's a good value for money, and that's a good pace to have for the game in terms of story and replayability. Again, the game needs to be fun, but I think from a sheer game development standpoint, it needs to be 30 hours minimum. I think Sonic hasn't been 30 hours minimum in a very long time. Sonic Colors and Sonic Forces were very short games. Sonic Colors, I think, was about like 12 hours, 12 to 20 hours, which I think was fine for that game at the time, because Sonic Colors was quite good. I think the level design and everything was quite good overall. But for me, it was Sonic Forces, which was the final nail in the coffin for Sonic Team, which made me really doubt Sonic Team, because that game is an absolute joke. It can be finished in an hour, 2 hours. But for me, I just want Sonic Frontiers to be really good. I need Sonic Frontiers to be really good. As a Sonic fan, it's this for me is the last straw. If this game is bad, I'm never touching a Sonic game again. This is their last chance to prove to people like me that they can make games competently, they can make good Sonic games, because I think at that point where you have Sonic Boom, I know Sonic Boom was made by different developers, but I think with Sonic Boom, Sonic Colors Ultimate also launching in the state that it's like a completely broken state, you also had Sonic Forces, and I think with all that combined, I think it then questions need to be asked of maybe a different developer needs to take Sonic and hopefully make a good Sonic game. Maybe just give it to the fans. I mean, you guys saw with Sonic Mania, that did really well. Plus, I know there's a load of drama with the developers of it, but Sonic Omens, I played a bit of that and really enjoyed it. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but Sonic fans have also remade Sonic 06 for the PC. So it's just things like that. I feel like the fans could probably do a better job. But that's probably it for the video. I mean, Sonic Frontiers for me looks really good so far. I do have a few concerns, being the story, the dialogue, and the level design. If those things are good, I think this will be a good game. I don't mind them reusing levels. It's just we do need some new cyberspace levels thrown in there. I think if it's a mixture, that'll be perfectly fine. But anyway, that's enough rambling from me. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend. If you want more Sonic content on this channel, when the game comes out, I will be doing a full review, as well as I'll be doing like gameplay tutorials and the whole rest of it. I am also currently working on a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 review. It is taking a bit longer because it's probably going to end up being 25 minutes, 30 minutes, as it's a sort of full spoiler review. It goes into like my thoughts on everything in the game, so look forward to that hopefully this weekend. If not, it'll be like early next week. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.